Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome, as always, to News Talk. My name is Stephanie, and I'm joined by David. Hi, David.
Hi, Stephanie. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. We've got three great stories lined up for you today. And as always, what a great way to practice your vocabulary and to improve your listening skills as well, because David and I will be discussing the stories, but we want to know what you think. So please do type in the chat. Let us know what you think about the stories we're talking about.
Yes, please. As Stephanie says, we've got three interesting topics that are in the news. Let's start, shall we? So, topic number one, we're asking which sweet product is soaring in price and why? Do you know? Have you been affected? Do you like this product?
Story number two, something completely different. We're going back to politics for story number two. And we're asking what new tax is Biden proposing if, and of course it's a big if, re-elected in November? So, any ideas for story number two?
And what do you think about this potential new tax? And then finally, last week was the International Day of Happiness. And we hope that you are very happy. But we want to know, according to the United Nations, which is the happiest country in the world. And we also want to hear from you, which countries are you from? And we will tell you where you are in the League of Happiest Countries.
Hot off the press there, David. You have the statistics, the information at your fingertips.
I have, I think.
Perfect. So let's say hi to everyone. We've got Mafran saying hello. Amelia's there as well. Yusuf saying hi. We've got Natalie joining us. Please do let us know where you're from. Type in the chat, say hello. We're thrilled that you are joining us. So
Absolutely.
let's get started then. Story number one. Now, there's several clues here. There's a clue in the question, sweet product. So look at that word sweet. What could we be talking about? And of course, look at the picture. We're asking which sweet product is soaring in price, and we'd like to know why.
Yeah. Anybody know what we are looking at in the picture? What they are? They are absolutely critical to making this product, Amelia. Correct? Yes.
Well done, Amelia. You are on it already. Absolutely. Exactly, Amelia. So we're talking about cocoa beans, aren't we, David?
We are, and it is. I don't know if you do you buy chocolate? Do you eat chocolate? Because if you do, you will have noticed that they're getting smaller and smaller and more expensive. And part of the reason for this is because of poor harvests of cocoa beans. These is absolutely essential to the production of chocolate. Do we have
And I think
chocolate fans?
it's going to come as no surprise to anybody, I think, that attends any of my classes, that I have a bit of a sweet tooth. Yeah, I like chocolate a lot. Amelia does as well.
And
David, chocolate fan?
I'm so. I can, yes, I'm quite happy to buy a bar of chocolate and have one piece a day.
I don't know that I can continue talking to David after that revelation. I'm shocked. I'm not one of those people. I have no self-control with chocolate.
Really? Well, anybody know which country do you think eats the most chocolate in the world? Which country eats the most chocolates? Yes, Manizia, we're going to answer that question. Why has this situation happened? But which country? Anybody know? Have a guess.
I actually know the answer, I think. Well, I did look it up. So I wonder whether my facts, my statistics are the same as yours, David. We'll find out. Amelia's guessing Argentina. Yusuf likes dark chocolate. See, that's a good
Oh,
point, Yusuf. There's different types, aren't there?
yes. Oh, I'm with Yusuf as well. If I'm going to eat chocolate, then I prefer higher. You get a higher percentage of cocoa in the chocolate. Much nicer.
So apparently
Um,
you need less if you have dark chocolate.
indeed, indeed. Um, Actually, according to my research, it's Switzerland. Oh,
Mine
well
too.
done. Yes,
Yes, we concur.
Switzerland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Switzerland.
yeah. And the UK is, thanks to Stephanie, it's number 4. It's- and-
Well, especially coming up to Easter, when of course there's Easter eggs and all the things in the shops like that. It's yes.
oh, good, Natalie. Yes, yes, Natalie, I am as well. I prefer dark chocolate. But in the UK, apparently, we eat something like 11 kilos of chocolate per person a year.
Thank
Which
you,
is
Amelia, saying congratulations, Great Britain. Yeah, number 4. I think if mine's the same as yours, David, we had Germany at number 2, and Ireland number
Oh,
3.
really? Oh, so it's
Mm,
countries. Yes, I know Europe. We have a sweet tooth, as
mm.
somebody saying. But the problem, somebody asked, is because of poor harvest for the past 3 years of these cocoa beans. Just some, I think, quite interesting background information. You need 400 cocoa beans to make 1 pound of chocolate. That's about half a kilo of chocolate. And each tree, as I understand it, produces about 2,500 beans. So from each cocoa tree, you get about 2 kilos of chocolate. So you need a lot
A
of
lot.
trees.
And therein, of course, lies the problem, isn't it? Um, Top producing countries have stopped, or even well, they've reduced or stopped altogether their output simply because they can't afford to buy the beans anymore. And of course, the knock-on effect is that the price of chocolate is likely to increase.
Right. So apparently it's the Ivory Coast and Ghana that
Yeah.
produces most chocolate. They've got the production, this is where the output of chocolate is from. But if they can't get the beans, then they can't produce the chocolate. And that is a big problem. And already the knock-on effect of this is that prices have risen something like 12% last year and is just going to they project continue rising. So, Stephanie, you're going to be spending more to buy the
Well,
same amount of chocolate.
yes, yeah. Hello, Lara. Lara has just joined. Amelia, I don't know about the Czech Republic. David, do you have any information where the
I'm
Czech
very sorry,
Republic
I don't.
features?
I can tell you how happy you are, but not how much
Not how
chocolate
much chocolate.
you eat.
I mean, maybe it's connected, an interesting possible correlation there.
Oh, happiness and chocolate could be, could it? Yeah, but it is. I mean, it is a big issue. This because, of course, the process. You can't just get the beans and then produce the chocolate. You have to harvest the beans, and then it has to go through a production process where it's turned into butter or liquor, and then it becomes you can make it into chocolate.
Absolutely. And a nice expression there, the knock-on effect, of course, increased prices. So I wonder whether that's something we will be seeing any time soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Lara. So, any other comments on the chocolates? Nobody's admitted to eating lots and as much chocolate as you, Stephanie. Does
Well, I
anybody
mean,
eat a
I
lot
don't
of?
know that I said I ate a lot. I do like my chocolate. Yes, I do like it. And especially this time of year in the UK, we're coming up to Easter. There's a lot of chocolate related products, which of course is very tempting if you have a sweet tooth. So I'm not like David, unfortunately. If I have a bar of chocolate, I do have to eat it. I can't just have one. There you go, Amelia too. We can't just have one and then put it away again. Too
But Stephanie,
much.
do you prefer plain chocolate, just the chocolate, or do you like chocolates?
No,
So,
I don't. I'm not a fan of like filled chocolate. So and I don't really like caramel. So I wouldn't like anything like that. I like chocolate, chocolate.
oh, good, you've got another addict there.
Ah, Marcia, fantastic. Marcia is addicted to chocolate. So there we go. We're all in good
Good.
company.
We're very happy for you both.
Let's have a look at some of the vocabulary, shall we? So here we go. Let's have a look at some nice expressions that hopefully you heard as we were talking about this topic. So of course the answer cocoa beans and chocolate prices therefore are likely to soar, likely to increase. David.
So as we said, yes, what the essence of the product are the cocoa beans, and beans are seeds or pods containing seeds of a climbing plant that are eaten or made into something.
And of course, the problem, the reason why, I mean, Marzia asked the question, which is a very good question. Why has this happened? Well, we had 3 years of very poor harvests, and harvest is that really critical time of year when crops are cut. So crops, the farmers cut the crops, they collect them from the fields, and then of course they go into the process of producing chocolate.
And Simon, very good point there. Yeah, so it's been extreme dry weather can be the main cause for this shortage. Yes, so there's not enough water for the crops to grow and to be able to harvest them. And of course, the knock-on effect, as we say, is that then output is severely limited. So the output is the amount that is produced in our context by the factories, the production factories, but it could be a person, a machine, a factory, a country, whatever.
Absolutely. Okay, so unfortunately for me, we're moving away from the topic of chocolate. We're going to talk politics, something completely different. And our question here is, what new tax is Biden proposing if, big if, re-elected in November? So what do we think here? Any ideas? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, what type of new tax? And this is not new. It has been discussed for many years, but it's a really difficult one. I think the principle, I'd be surprised if most people don't agree with the principle, but it's how you implement such a tax. I think that's possibly one of the reasons that many countries haven't. I think 2 or 3 countries already have one of these taxes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Switzerland, Norway, Spain, and Colombia apparently have some form of this, and Scotland apparently is considering this.
Yeah, in a no, good one. Not tax on corporations. I mean, there is, corporation tax already exists in most countries, I think, if not all countries, and it could possibly be increasing that, but I don't think that would be very popular, especially in America. Mansion tax, Amelia is saying, nearly it's along that idea, but yeah.
Yes, we're on the right track there. We're obviously thinking about people with money. Try to give a big clue there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, that's Amelia's coming up with a really good one there. That's this idea of adding an additional tax to these global corporations like Google, YouTube, etc., who are making so much money. But it's actually, yes, it's really it's what it's been called in the newspapers is a billionaire's tax. But what it is in reality is called a wealth tax. And of course, we all pay, if we work, we pay income tax, or, we have capital gains tax if we sell a property, for example. But a wealth tax is more interesting because it is not only a tax on your money, but it's a tax on the things you have, the valuables you have.
Hmm.
I wonder what you feel about that. Do you think this is a good idea or not?
So, yes, a good question there. Do you agree with a wealth tax
So, and
or the
then
super rich? So it's not just rich, you've got to be super rich.
yeah, and the actual proposal, I think, is something like you would pay in tax an additional 2% on your wealth, your collective wealth, over $50 million, right? So you've got to be super rich before this even comes. What do we think of that? Yes, these
Yeah,
people, you said they are loaded. Good. Yes.
nice adjective there, Yusuf. Yes, loaded, affluent, uber rich, super rich. Yes, you have to have, I think, as David said, a wealth of at least $100 million for this to be affecting you. And as we said, Switzerland, Norway, Spain, and Colombia already do have some form of wealth tax. Other countries considering it, but I think, as we said, we probably agree with this in principle, but there are complications. I mean, there's the admin side of things, having to determine people's net worth, because it's not simply monetary, is it? It can be other things as well. So
Absolutely.
that's a big issue. And ultimately, there's also compliance issues. I mean, are people going to do this?
Exactly. Good points making there. So just type in yes or no. Do you think we should have, or countries should have, a wealth tax? Yes or no. So Stephanie's already pointed out reasons why not, actually, because of the admin. And I think what is a big problem as is about avoiding. So you could
Mm,
possibly have all your assets in another jurisdiction. I don't know how you would legislate against that. And I think this is, Simon's point again. As a political strategy, it's really difficult. But okay, we've got some in favour and some against. Because the arguments in favor of it, of course, is reducing this massive inequality that there is
yes,
be-
the
between
gap
the very
between rich
rich
and
and
poor.
the poor.
Mm,
And what I've read is that, just this tiny percentage of people paying additional tax could raise nearly $3 trillion in the United States over 10 years. That's a
mm.
massive amount of
It's
money.
huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge. And you've got to think, I mean, if people are that rich, if they're that rich, what is it actually going to make any difference to them? Lots of people saying yes here. I think we've got one no so far. Yes, says Vesna, yes, says Marzia, yes, says Yusuf, and yes, says Inna. Lots of agreement here.
But again, I mean, there must be a reason, because I would have thought most countries would like to have this, but I suspect it is, that whole administrative
Yeah.
area, and
Collecting the
how you manage it.
information. I mean, and then there's this, I think there's various steps, aren't there? I mean, firstly, you've got to collect the information, it's got to be accurate. And then, as we said, how do you enforce it? You've got to enforce this. I suspect there'll be capital flights. People will take their money, their assets, and transfer it to another jurisdiction. And by doing that, that can, of course, have an effect, a knock-on effect, there's that word again, on an economy. So I think there are various complications.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and you do wonder, I am a little cynical here, but because Biden is announcing this now, and it may never come to pass. I mean, he outlined this, I think, in his State of Union address or something the other day. And of course, the Democrats, what they want to do is to fight this wealth inequality that they see in the United States.
and of course, when politicians coming up for re-election, exactly, Amelia's saying, I don't believe in politics or politicians. They say these things, don't they? They come up with these statements, these promises that are likely to attract voters, that it will appeal to them. But as David said, will this ever actually happen?
But in other countries, it has. So let's see, shall we?
Watch this space. I mean, who knows,
Yes,
this time next year we may be talking about it.
yes.
Okay, so let's have a look at some vocabulary here then. So the question was, what tax is Biden proposing? And in his budget proposals, he said he would impose a new billionaire tax on the country's wealthiest if re-elected in November.
So, as we were talking about, the idea is to tax the more affluent in our society. And if you are affluent, then you have a lot of money, or you own lots of things. I think actually
Possibly.
for most countries, the West is affluent. We are, because we are so fortunate in the money we have and the things that we can buy.
as illustrated by the photo where we have some beautiful yachts. And so affluent people possibly owning beautiful yachts like that. So, of course, the point of this is to tackle the issue of, as David said, this inequality, this gap between the super rich and people living in poverty. So, if you tackle something, you try to deal with something, or it could be a person with someone.
Yeah, and as I think I said, President Biden outlined his plan. So if you outline something, then you give the main facts about something, you start explaining it.
Good. Story number 3. What a great story to finish with today. Which is the happiest country in the world? So I think we need to start with some guesses before we then talk about how happy everyone's country is.
Yes.
So let's get the guesses coming in. What do you think? Which is the happiest country in the world? Type in the chat. Let us know what you think.
And I think it happens to have been the same country for, I don't know, the past two or three
Oh,
years.
I think it's more than that, isn't
Oh,
it? It's
is it?
yeah, it's something like 5 years. I read. It's incredible this.
And it's quite surprising as well. Um, and oh, we've got some people who've got it already. Well done. Yes. Um, and the factors, while you're giving your votes, the factors that determine, because of course it's not just, well, are you happy? Yes, no. But there are 6 major factors that people are given in a survey to respond to determine the average score, and that's social support, income, health, freedom, generosity, how much you give, and absence of corruption. If your country isn't corrupt. I think that's a really interesting
It's
mixture.
an interesting mix, isn't it? I mean, I have to say I was surprised by some of those. Some are obvious, health, for example, and freedom. You think they have a big impact on how happy people are. But yes, perhaps generosity, not something people might be thinking about in determining how happy a country is.
But fantastic answers there. And yes, the number one is indeed Fin-
Finland. Yeah,
Finland. Yes,
Finland.
Eurovision. It's Finland. Finland is number one and has been. Is it something like 6 years?
It's
Um,
something like that. Yeah, it's incredible.
And it tends to be the Nordic countries where this happens. So Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Sweden are the top four countries. Do tell me your country and I will find you on the list if I can.
Well, we know we're going to have to look. We need to look up Amelia. She'll want to know Czechia, Czech Republic.
Yes, I can find that. Amelia, you come in at number 18, which
There
is
you go,
actually
Amelia.
higher than the UK.
So
So
where
you
were
are
we,
happier
David?
than we are.
Where were we on the list? Were we 20?
We are number 20. The UK comes in at number 20. Any other countries? We had who asked before? Who else brought up their country? Do type in, and I'll tell you what number you represent on the list.
North
Oh, North.
Macedonia.
Well, I can't find that one. You would make it difficult for. Oh no, you're there. I found you. Sorry, you come in at Vesna. You come in at number 84. But there are 160 countries, so you're about halfway up.
And of course, we have to say that just because it's on a list, a ranking, doesn't mean that we agree with this. I mean,
Absolutely.
we can strongly disagree, and we can say that actually we think our country is the happiest. I don't think the UK is, but we can disagree.
Well, I think Spain is an interesting case because I always think Spanish people and as a society are extremely happy, but they come in at number 36, which I thought they would be a lot higher. Um, and Ukraine. I'm just trying to find. Just trying to find. I know it was quite. Give me a second. Um,
Okay, while David's looking that up, have you found it, David?
No,
No, he's
I'm
still looking.
finding.
Okay. So while David's finding it, why don't we type in as well, what makes you happy? So, I mean, we talked about the factors there, but what kind of things make you happy? So type in as well and let us know what makes you happy. Doesn't have to be big things. I actually think it's often the small things that make you happy. But what do you think? What makes you a happy person, or what makes a country a happy place to live, do you think?
Natalie, I found you in the end. It's, I'm afraid at the moment it's, and not perhaps surprisingly, it's 105. But actually, considering, what is going on in the world,
And of
um,
course, things change, don't they?
they
Nothing
do
ever stays the same.
indeed. And I think one of
Nice
the
answer, Amelia. Good weather, family, and animals. Good answer there.
and
Inna says, oh, sorry, David, peace and
yeah, no, no,
freedom. Mm.
lovely, peace and freedom, absolutely. Um, And I think what's also come out of these studies is that where there is sexual equality rather than inequality, then the rankings tend to be a lot higher in those countries.
Exactly, Marzia. It's the simple things. That's what I think. A hot coffee in the morning, something like that can really start your day off well, can't it? You don't need a lot of things. It's these simple things.
And Simon, I think that's such a lovely comment there.
Exactly. Emilia, entertainment with perfectly spoken. Well, we hope we are entertaining, don't we, David?
Absolutely.
We try to be. We try to be.
But yeah, I mean, job satisfaction is hugely important, and this whole issue about equality. Another point that I found really interesting in these surveys was the difference when you look at different age groups. So for me, I was quite surprised that the US, the United States, is lower than the UK. It comes in at about number 22, I think. Yeah, number 23 in the world. However, if you talk to elderly people in the US, this is over 60, then the ranking would be in the top 10. If you talk to young people in the US, then the ranking goes down to 67.
Wow, that's a
And
huge
that's because,
discrepancy.
yeah, young people in the US do not see a bright future. They are not happy with what they've got. And I think that's a real sad reflection on their society at the moment.
I think there's so many interesting points that come out of this topic. Um, and as we said, of course, when we talk about these rankings, things change, and wherever your country is on the list, it's an overall picture. It's not a representation, is it, of how happy people can be in that place.
Absolutely. It's just a little bit of fun, but I think it's great that we even have a happiness index and we have the International Day of Happiness, and it's lovely to see what makes you happy.
So let's finish then with some vocabulary from this topic. So, yes, it's the sixth year in a row, which is an incredible achievement for Finland, who've been named the happiest country in the world. Do you know what, Amelia? That's actually really true. That's a really good answer. And I think that is very true. I am happy when I have some fresh flowers around.
I'll send you some. And that's yeah, great. Yes, there's a great difference between the young or the youth and the elderly, indeed. And what we were talking about is rankings. And if you rank the verb to rank, then you position somebody or something on a scale that shows how good or important they are in relation to other or similar things.
And David told us the factors that were taken into consideration, didn't he? He mentioned six factors. We were talking about things like freedom and health and absence of corruption. So, a factor is a fact or a situation that influences the result of something.
Yeah, like scoring, indeed, Simon. Yeah, good, good. That's a good synonym. And then I think we mentioned there is a correlation. That a correlation is a connection or relationship between two or more factors. So there is a correlation between sexual quality, equality, and the ranking as well.
Well done, everybody. Great
Yes.
participation today. That unfortunately is the end of our news talk today.
But thank you so much for joining us. And just to make us happy, Stephanie and I are going to have a little mini break next. We're going to have the day off next Monday because it is holiday in most of Europe, I think. And
But I
another
will still be doing my classes. So if you come to my live classes, I'm not
yes,
taking a holiday from them. So if you're
no,
my B2 class or my C2 class, please don't forget to set your reminders because I will be in the classes next week. So no news talk, but I will be doing my live classes. So I do hope to see you then.
indeed. And
Thank
I
you,
will see you
everybody.
do it. Enjoy. Thank you very much, Simon. Yes, we will. Bye bye.